Hey, it's TK Irish at the Camp Kennerk podcast. It's Sunday. It's sports. It is baseball. That's right. We got some exciting news today. Let's take a trip down memory lane. 1989, there was a movie released called Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner, and it had an all-star cast. And it was all about a farmer out in Iowa who had this hallucination of hearing this voice saying, "If you build it, they will come." Well, it's a very good movie. It's about baseball and how it all evolved around the baseball game of the yesterday. So, Major League Baseball has done something very, very unique and very exciting, is that they have taken that concept and they have built on it. So the last 10 years, they would actually have a Major League Baseball game there in Dyersville, Iowa. And they'd build a temporary stadium and they would have the games come out. But what they did is that they did not make it an annual game. They just did it every 2, 3, 4 years. And it's just gotten phenomenal results. So they're bringing it back this summer. Uh, Mark your calendar, August 13th. The Minnesota Twins are playing the Philadelphia Phillies. And what's really cool about this, it's going to be broadcast live. It's going to be on Netflix. Uh, but the thing that's really, really cool, in my opinion, because we support minor league baseball here, is that the AAA minor league matchup between the St. Paul Saints and the Iowa Cubs are playing 2 days before that. So you can see they're really grasping in and bringing in the whole concept of baseball. But, you know, they only have a stadium that holds about 6,000 people. So, what's that mean? That means ticket prices. Gosh, why do you always have to bring that up, TK? Well, because this one is a little out of my league. And I think Doug the neighbor will agree to it because, hey, you want to go sit out the outfield? Tickets start at $3,500. Hey, the infield by third base starts at $5,500 a ticket per person, and if you want to be behind the home plate, starts at $7,500. So hey, what can you say? You got a small field, you got Major League Baseball, you're out there in the cornfields of Iowa. It's really a lot of fun, and I've watched it a couple times over the years, and they do a great job. Before you watch the game, go to Field of Dreams on Netflix, YouTube, or any of your platforms, and watch it because it's a great movie. They got an all-star cast, and play ball. So, Doug the neighbor, do you remember seeing that movie?
Yes, I do. And it was a great movie. And it's so good to see you, TK. And hopefully you're doing well. Have you got your coffee there on this Sunday morning?
Right here.
Oh my gosh. Joining all of our members or viewers around the galaxy on a Sunday morning, checking our sports scores, having our coffee, and a little chat. And that's a great point concerning the Field of Dreams movie that came out in 1989 with Kevin Costner. And the new stadium that they're putting in beside the old field and now turning it into a regular event. I understood that they haven't done it since COVID or something like that. And then they built a new stadium. But that situation concerning the ticket prices, yeah, I get it. You have an investment and it's maybe once or twice a year, but you know, this is what we have come up with concerning minor league baseball is that viewership attendance is down almost 3% from last year. And with increased ticket prices, uh, I think it's going to be attendance and viewership is going to be down again. And on a personal note, some neighbors came on over for coffee the other day, and we were talking neighbor chat, and they said they'd gone up to a Round Rock game and they sat out in the outfield where the grass, because they had kids and that sort of stuff. And I said, "Oh, good fun." And I said, did you have a good time? Yeah, did we have a good time? The kids had a Coke and a dog, and but the first thing she said is, "Parking costs more than the ticket." This is the wife. The parking's more than tickets, so she's aware of it. And I said, yeah, that's going to hurt in the long run. And we wish minor league baseball well because that is where the hopes and dreams live. Okay, so to get going for today, your information about Field of Dreams, that's perfect. That's beautiful. That's what we're talking about, the Field of Dreams, where hope lives. It was a great movie.
Yep, it really is. And you know, I was watching something the other day, and it was some doctors, some orthopedic surgeons, and brought up an interesting point. These kids who play one sports 12 months out of the year come up with horrendous injuries because of overexposure. He talked about a 15-year-old boy who had Tommy John surgery
Oh,
for the elbow. He was a pitcher, and he says, I've been an orthopedic surgeon for a long time, and I do professional sports. Normally, I see this injury with someone who's been playing in the major leagues for 10 years,
yes,
but
yeah.
a 15-year-old, and he says this is not an isolated situation. So
Hmm.
they need to quit this 12-month playing season, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, and be a well-rounded athlete and play all three or four sports during the year.
Well, I understand what you're trying to say, but the whole world of a young kid who's 14, 15 years old, he's already on the radar of the scouts for the college and for baseball. And so it's a whole parental thing of getting your child ready to play well in a game at, say, high school, and then he's able to get a scholarship for college, which would save a lot of money. We know, and you make NIL, and then you're ready to go on to the pros. So it's a balance that of a child who has Tommy John surgery at age 15. Did the parents just ignore him? Ignore his, it's a parental.
Well, he's a kid. He doesn't want to complain because that means he's not going to be able to play. And
That's absolutely true.
play with pain, right? Play through the
Play with
pain.
paint. Yeah, yeah. And our football coach was a former Marine, so I know all about that.
Yeah.
Walk it off. Walk
That's
it
right.
off.
Yeah.
You're breathing, you're okay. Walk it off. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. We've got our coffee. It's Sunday morning. It's May 17th, and this is podcast number 87.
How about that?
How about that? Yes. And the sports I have, we're going to start with my Texas Rangers right here. They are third in the American League West. They're 21 and 24. And right now they're in Houston and they've got a 3-game series there. And they lost the first two, 2-0 and then 4-1 last night. And then they play a noon game because it's getaway day. And then they go on up to Colorado for a 3-game series. Now the Rangers are batting 228, but that's 26th in the league. That's not good.
Well, thank goodness there are 28 teams.
That's about right. Yeah. But they've hit 40 home runs, which only makes them 23rd. So their batting is not very good. But their pitching is kind of interesting. They've got a 3.62 ERA, so they're sixth in the league. So that's not bad. Sixth in the league.
Thank goodness they're not 28th in the league in pitching, because that'd be a
Yeah,
long
that's true.
season.
That's true. Another interesting situation is so far no complete games. Now
Yeah.
we're 6 weeks into the season, but no complete games. So I would think soon the managers would start saying, "Okay, finish the game." But that's not the way baseball thinks anymore. The whole deal with Nolan Ryan pitching 200 games and complete games, or Walter Johnson doing double headers and stuff like that. Those days are gone. You know,
Yeah, they're long gone. It's too bad.
too bad, too bad. So, but that's my Texas Rangers. Well, let's change my hat and put on my El Paso Chihuahuas.
There you. Hey, do they have like the Chihuahuas? Do they have a chant at the game? You know, like barking dogs or one
Well,
thing
that's
or
a good
another.
point because I'm going to El Paso and I'm going to be there for in June and watching the Spacemen play. I'm going to be with a bunch of guys for a fraternity reunion. And right now, the Chihuahuas are fourth in the Pacific Coast League East at 20 and 24. Now, uh, right now, they're playing the Salt Lake Bees and they've lost 4 out of 5. A team comes in town on a Monday and then they play a 6-game series, which is kind of interesting. And they they've lost 4 of 5, and then they have a game today at 2 p.m. Salt Lake takes off, and then Round Rock, the team that I watched here in Austin, they're coming in for a 6-game series starting on Tuesday. Okay, now on the Chihuahuas, their number one hitter is a guy named Jace Bowen. He's now got 10 home runs. And the team has 59 home runs, which is pretty good. And the team is batting at 277. And then they're a little bit of hustle on the bases. They got 45 stolen bases. So
There
they're
you
doing,
go.
yeah, a little bit of hustle there, stolen bases. But their pitching is not good. It's ERA of 6.25, 6.25 ERA. So they got to get it down. But you send kids down into the AAA to just get work and that sort of stuff, and so that they get ready for going back into the major leagues. And the Chihuahuas are AAA team for the San Diego Padres. Now, but here's an interesting situation. The other team, they're hitting 288.
Ah,
Okay, so the Chihuahuas are hitting 277, and the other team's hitting 288 average, against them. But here's an odd stat I found. Uh, the pitching is 6.25 ERA, and they've hit 29 batters.
well,
In
I guess those batters aren't supposed to get so close to the plate, or they just need to keep their eye on the ball a little bit better.
Don't be digging in there, that box there. You remember in Bull Durham, the great phrase when he told Nuke LaLoosh to just throw at the mascot.
And he
Don't
did.
argue. Throw at the mascot. And then he tells the batter, "Don't be digging in. I don't know where it's going."
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've always thought throw at the mascot. I've used that a couple of times, telling some people. I said, "Look, just do as I say. Throw at the mascot." I go, "What?" One guy got it and said,
Yeah.
"Okay." So that's what I have here on minor league baseball. So, but I have a little note here concerning the Preakness, which ran
Yes.
yesterday.
Well, before we get to the Preakness, I want to talk about my world famous Fort Wayne tin caps.
Ooh, let's hear about them because
Ooh,
last time we chatted, they were on a roll.
they were on a roll, and and the roll has slowed down a little bit, but they've are playing the Cedar Rapid Colonels. Now, I don't know what type of colonel that is. Well, it's a military or as a food, but that's their deal. They're in Iowa. They can do whatever they want. So they're playing Cedar Rapids this week, and today's was a rubber game. So far, the Tin Caps have won 3. Cedar Rapids has lost 2. So this is the game that will give them bragging rights for the next time around. But
Okay.
next week they play the Dayton Dragons, and they're a good ball club, so that should be a good series. But the thing that I wanted to point out was they've been on a roll for the last couple of weeks. They
Yes, yes.
but it hadn't really assisted them in the fact that they won 17 and lost 19 for the season. So they're sub 500, but they're in fourth place in the league. So, they're a spotty team. They get streaks going on. So I just hope when they go to Dayton that they could put together another streak like they did a couple weeks ago, winning five in a row. So, but hey, they got spirit, they got desire, they got backing. They'll do fine.
They'll
So,
do fine. And the thing is, if you can do one streak, the coach can say to the team, "We can do it again.
yeah,
This is how,
yeah,
this is how we can do it
yeah.
again. We got the tools to do it again." So that's just terrific. And maybe we can get Kevin, the magnificent computer dude, to post the logos of these teams that we have mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, look forward to that. Okay, so now how far is Cedar Rapids, Iowa from Fort Wayne? How far is that?
I'd probably, off the top of my head, I would probably venture to say about 500 miles
Okay.
because
Okay.
you gotta go through. Fort Wayne is on the eastern side of the state, so you gotta go through Indiana, Illinois, and then about halfway through Iowa. It's also known as the Triple I. It used to be called the Triple I League many, many years ago because
Okay.
it was Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa.
Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting. I just never knew that. Okay, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, then let me conclude with the Preakness. It was run yesterday, and Napoleon Solo won the race, and he was at odds of 7 to 1. And the ticket, a $2 ticket, you would have won $17.80, and he won by a length. And Taj Mahal was the favorite, and he beat him by a length. So Napoleon Solo.
Well,
So there you
good, good. That'll be something we could talk about later on because I ventured out to the horse races yesterday.
Oh, excellent. So maybe we get some videos when we talk about
Yeah,
the Belmont,
yes, exactly,
the end of
exactly.
the Triple Crown. So this is
Yeah.
good. Beautiful thing.
Mhm.
TK, this is all beautiful, beautiful stuff that we are doing, and I appreciate your time and effort and us getting together to do our 87th podcast. 87. Okay,
Mhm.
that's great. And I just wanted to say, play ball.
Aaron Go Brawl.